Were you fed the lie that you have to do it all and be Superwoman in order to keep your family together? We're going to break down this myth and talk about the feminine role in maintaining the family. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Secret Formula of Femininity for women who want to live a more feminine, fun, and fabulous life. I'm Dr. Nicole Monteiro, your host on this weekly journey to unlocking your inner radiance, nurturing fulfilling relationships, and becoming the best version of yourself. Welcome back, beautiful souls, to another episode of the Secret Formula of Femininity. I'm your host and guide on this journey to tapping into your feminine essence, Dr. Nicole. And today's episode is especially close to my heart. This is a solo moment just for me and you, for us to just sit in this sacred space that we have created together with this podcast and to break some things down about our power within the families. So last week, in the last two episodes, actually, it was a two-part interview with retired Army Major Clifton J. Johnson. Whew, let me tell you, if you have not listened yet, you need to go back and tune in. We went deep on the importance of restoring the family, the nuclear family, how male absenteeism has affected our communities, and what it means to take personal responsibility for generational healing. You see why it had to be two parts? So you need to make sure and go back and listen. But today, I wanted to talk directly to you, my sisters, my fellow women, because we are serious. If we are serious about rebuilding and preserving our families, we need to understand the divine feminine role in that process. And we need to stop doing it from a place of burnout, resentment, and hyper independence. That is not how we win at all. Let's begin with a universal truth. Women are the heartbeat of the home. Our energy is what sets the tone. The way we move, the way we speak, how we love, and how we rest shapes the entire family environment. You know that, right? When you're on, the family is functioning well. When you're off, things just go downhill. But the problem is, a lot of us were raised to believe that we had to do everything. So because we know we're the heartbeat, we feel like we have to do everything. We have to be every organ and every function for the family. Cook every meal, carry every emotion, be the disciplinarian, the counselor, the friend, the cheerleader, the bank account manager. And if we dropped one ball, we would feel guilt, shame, exhaustion, and the cycle would continue, making us dig our heels in and feel like we have to be even more independent, get more done, put in more work, while it just leads to exhaustion and burnout. But what if I told you there was a secret, another way to do things, a way that women for millennia and centuries have known? Preserving your family isn't just about doing more. It's about being more grounded in who you are. And this is where the femininity comes in. Being more grounded in who you are means dispelling or breaking some myths that make women overfunction and do too much. So let's bust a few of these myths that are really silently disrupting our families. Myth number one is I have to do it all. Now, I talk to women all the time and they're like, but doc, how can I not do it all? I'm the one holding it together. I talk to single women, married women, women in different kind of relationship situations, and they all have this same belief. But the thing is, when you are doing it all, you actually can't give your all. So you end up not giving what you need to give anyway. You need to be able to let down your guard, take off the cape, and get help. Especially if you're married, your partner needs to be helping. And we're going to talk a little bit about how that balance works. But if you're not, you need help from your village. One issue that I see for a lot of women, especially a lot of Black women, is we have a hard time asking for help. It's not that the help isn't available, but we don't want to look weak. We don't want people to judge us. We don't want to feel like we're inadequate. We have spent so much time priding ourselves in doing it all that we start to feel weak and like we are not living up to our standards and expectations when we ask for help. But asking for help is the most courageous thing you can do, especially when you have a family. You are not meant, your bodies are not meant, your spirits, your emotions, your energy is not meant to carry all the weight. So that myth of having to do it all needs to go out the window. Myth number two is related. It's if I don't lead, everything will fall apart. All right. All of my eldest girl child women, raise your hand, right? This is what I see with a lot of you all. It's like, I am the second mom. I have to lead. I have to do it all. I am the logic of the family. I hold everything together. And while it's true, we are the heartbeat, it's our emotional regulation and our rest and being grounded within ourselves that really sets the tone. But when we try to lead, number one, it doesn't leave room for anyone else to step in and, back to myth number one, give us a helping hand. Number two, it exhausts us, it causes resentment. Number three, it just can't continue. We are humans. We are going to fall apart if we are constantly looking forward and we don't have support. We don't have a chance to fall back. And that complementary between masculine and feminine, that polarity that you hear me talk about so much, is vital. You have to allow others to lead, whether that's your spouse, whether as you're raising your kids, they're getting older, and you allow them to take ownership of their certain things, certain roles in the family, or certain responsibilities, right? Because usually the women that want to lead the family and do everything, they feel like they have to, but also it becomes a comfort zone. They're doing everything for the kids. They're making all of these decisions. And while they're feeling resentful, it also gives a bit of power and importance. And I know that's hard to hear, but sometimes we have to fall back and ask ourselves how much of our identity is wrapped up in being the end all and be all within the family, and how can we fall back and let others step up. Myth number three, and this is one that we really have to throw out the window, is that my softness is weakness. My softness is weakness. I want you to repeat after me. My softness is my strength. Your softness is sacred. Your intuition is what guides you, it is wise. And your willingness to receive love, receive help, receive support is just as powerful as your ability to give it. It puts you in a position of being more vulnerable to receive, but it is so powerful and it is so replenishing. Strong families don't come from doing everything. They come from everyone knowing their place of love and purpose. And that includes us as women. We have to know when it's time to let the all the praise and all the help and all the support be showered upon us. And I'm not just talking about on Mother's Day, right? That's the day that we pause, and sometimes we're doing it all on Mother's Day. But really letting other people have an important role, because the feminine energy requires rest. That is one of the key components that makes it so powerful. It is intentional, it is deliberate, but it requires rest and it requires slowing down. Otherwise, you will be thrust into your Otherwise, you will be thrust into a place of being in an overly masculine role and energy. So, what does it actually look like to preserve and nurture your family from a feminine energy place, a healthy feminine energy place? I'm going to give you a few principles. We threw some of those myths out the window. Here are some of the principles. One is emotional leadership. You don't have to be the loudest voice to be the strongest. Emotional regulation, that is being able to manage your emotions, to understand your emotions, feel them, and then regulate and manage them. Grace under pressure. There are times when you are going to have to take that deep breath and model what it looks like to walk through the world and to face adversity with grace. And nurturing a safe space. There are times when your spouse, your kids, those that depend on you, they don't need you to fix it. They need you to be grounded within yourself so that you can be a safe space. Your kids need a shoulder to cry on without you being all hyper, anxious and worried and trying to take over everything. Your husband needs a safe place to land so that you're not trying to solve his problem, but you're there to be his peace. And that means that you have to be your peace. All of that is what feminine leadership in action looks like. It's less doing and it's more being, first of all, what you need for yourself. Principle number 2 is soft structure. Routines create peace, and that starts with routines for yourself, but even within your family, dinner together, weekend check ins, family meetings, bedtime rituals. These simple rhythms make both the kids and the adults feel secure, and they make you feel secure, even if you are just a single woman living by yourself. Without routines, without balance, you are off rhythm. How are you eating? When are you checking in with yourself? When are you moving your body? How are you hydrating? What are your spiritual routines? All of this is important. And this is what we call soft structure. And this is where our feminine energy really thrives. We create that rhythm. I always tell you all about my time living abroad, traveling abroad, being to more than 54 countries, living in 4 countries, just experiencing and observing in various cultures the way women create rhythm. It's not a 9 to 5 work structure. That is not how our bodies and our minds and our energies were meant to thrive. Now, if that's the case, if that's what you have to do, then you have to create spaces for your soft feminine energy to thrive. That means taking time for yourself, early morning routines, evening routines, making sure you take time out to sit with yourself, to journal, to reflect. All of this is all of these are important parts of the soft structure that we create for ourselves, but also within our families. The third principle is sacred rest. We have all heard it, but I feel like sometimes it goes in one ear and out the other. You cannot pour from an empty vessel. Feminine leadership means resting without guilt, without having to explain to people, without having to earn it. You need to learn to delegate without apology, and sometimes delegation will be paid delegation. It means hiring a house cleaner, using a food service. It means finding someone that you pay. Maybe you need a massage, but they need to come to you. It means having a routine for all of the things that make you feel good. I have to get my facial once a month. I like to get my manicures and pedicures. I like to go get massages. I like to go to my Korean spas. All of these things are ways that I replenish myself, both mentally and emotionally, but also physically. So you have to be okay with investing and delegating so that you can rest. And finally, saying no without over explaining. If you can't do something, you can't do it. Even with kids, and we know kids are the kings and queens of wanting to know why. They want to make sure things are fair. My answer is things aren't always fair. The answer is no, not right now. And you can say it with that lovely smile on your face, but when you are able to say no without over explaining, the message is sent that you are not going to earn your boundaries. You set your boundaries, and others have to follow along. That's how you get to sacred rest. The fourth principle, and this is really the foundation, because I hear people talking a lot about decentering men, and I don't believe that that is how we restore our families. We have to have respect for our feminine energy, but we also have to have respect for the masculine. Stop over functioning. When we don't respect the masculine, we try to take on that role and we end up over functioning. Let the man lead where he is called. Allow space for partnership, not competition. Who's doing this? Why isn't he doing this and I'm not doing that? Right? You're in a family unit. Stop competing. Masculinity and femininity are not rivals. They are complements. They were created to complement each other. Do you know that symbol you see from Japan, the yin and the yang? They fit so nicely together. They are two energies. And I know a lot about it because my grandmother adopted a Japanese based macrobiotic diet when she was diagnosed with cancer. And so much of the approach to food and well being has to do with balancing energies. You don't want very tight foods with very tight energies and having too much of that without having enough foods that are more loose and cooling and grounding. Well, it's the same with masculine and feminine. As women, we need to stop over functioning. And if we are not yet in a position where we have that masculine energy and support, then we need to find ways to seek it from other places. How do you do that? Number one, there are times when you are going to have to access your masculine energy, but you need to be clear about when those times are and put boundaries around that so that you leave space to access your feminine energy. That is being more in flow, tapping into your intuition, really connecting to your emotions. There are times where you may have to really lean into that masculine to get things done because you're just depending on yourself. But that is not the goal to stay there. That is how we stay in that hyper independent state as women. It's okay to be around male energy, whether it's in a setting like out in public, in the gym, allowing, a man to open a door for you. When someone wants to offer you something, being okay with it, right? Like being okay with learning to receive, whether it's compliments, little favors, little things here and there. But I believe when we get into the space where we want to decenter men, that has gone to an extreme. It's okay to focus on yourself and develop yourself, but there is nothing wrong with male energy. It is part of what allows the world to function the same way feminine energy does. It's just that you don't have to be overly focused on the sexualized part of it. But if we decenter men totally, then we've cut ourselves off from a vital part of how we function overall. The same way as if they cut themselves off from being open to feminine energy, like it becomes toxic. So respect for the masculine. Number 5, and this is closely connected to sacred rest. Principle number 5 is really seeing that femininity is an embodied energy. Be in your body. Slow down. That's why when you see women that just look at ease, even if they're walking quickly, there's a flow, there's an energy that still has a slowness about it, right? There's a difference between you just look anxious and worried and you're not in connection, you're not in tune with your body. You can be walking quickly but still have that energy of like you are within your body, you are present. You need to breathe. Pause and take a deep breath. When life is feeling like it's lifing, pause and breathe and put a smile on your face. I hear so many women say they get mad when people tell them to smile. One of the best ways to change your biochemistry within your body and how you're feeling is to change your facial expression. When you smile, it's easier to breathe. You send messages throughout your brain and body that you are in a more relaxed state and your body knows that it doesn't have to be in fight or flight. So take that scowl off your face and replace it with a smile. Create a home atmosphere that reflects your softness, whether it's soft music, nice scents. I love my incense, of course, but my Pura, making sure that I open the windows, that the cleaning products are not overly harsh, that they are either unscented, so they're neutral, or have a very soft, non toxic scent. Make sure that there's space for laughter and affection. If humans, we need hugs. Do you know that there is a market for cuddlers because there are people who are deprived of human touch? Now, if you are actually not living alone, you have kids, you have a spouse, you have siblings, make sure that you create a place for affection, laughter, and physical touch. It is so important. Even if you just go to get a massage, if you go to places where your body and your physical senses are being stimulated, that helps to relieve you and relax you, and so that you don't have a lot of tension stuck in your body. And I know this seems like, well, wait, what does this have to do with femininity? It's because Feminine energy is an embodied energy and experience. When you are cut off and disconnected from what's going on in your body, from how food affects your body, from how sleep affects you, from how even your posture, how you sit, your expressions, when you are disconnected from those things, you are more in a survival mode. Signs that you're getting out of survival is that you are accepting the embodied femininity, the fact that feminine energy is an embodied energy. You set the tone and you are the atmosphere that attracts that ease and relaxation. Do you get what I'm saying, ladies? Now, we talked about the 3 myths that need to be dispelled, the 5 principles that are going to help us rebuild. But I have to say this because I don't think we talk enough about it. The family is a spiritual structure. See, so much of the time we think about this as this individual pursuit that is just about me and if I'm happy or not. The family is a spiritual structure. When we restore the family, we restore things like legacy, identity, order, structure, completeness. Your faith, your walk, your spiritual walk, whatever that means to you, should infuse how you show up as a woman, as a partner, as a mother, as a daughter, as an auntie, as a friend. You have to understand that it is bigger than you. Yes, your strength matters, but your surrender matters more. Not to people who mistreat you, but to the process of divine flow, rest, submission, trusting the process. Rather than being signs of weakness, these are powerful choices that help you to really tap into your feminine energy. One of the most powerful things you can do as a woman is know when it's time to surrender, to know when it's time to walk away, to know when it's time to withdraw your energy and go within so that you can rest. A lot of times we're expending energy fighting petty fights, proving, showing why we were right, letting people know what the truth is, and that energy is often wasted. You have to see the bigger picture. How does this benefit me within my family? How does this benefit my energy, my emotional regulation? And sometimes the strongest thing you can do is submit to the process and trust that everything is going to work out and that you don't have to orchestrate every single aspect of the process. So let's wrap up with a few truths. 1, you are not meant to do it all. 2, you are allowed to be soft even during the times where you feel like you have to be strong. You have to reclaim your permission to be soft. 3, you are the spiritual center of your home, so you have to get right with you. And 4, your feminine power can restore generations. You are the culture bearers. You set the tone emotionally in terms of the culture of the family, in terms of how the family functions. Instead of seeing that as a burden, see it as the powerful role that it is. You can restore generations through your rest, through your nurturance of yourself, through your ability to take off the cape and stop being hyper independent and over functioning. I want you to repeat this after me. I am the heart of my family. I lead with love, not fear. I preserve peace, create legacy, and honor myself in the process. I was just thinking earlier today how learning to pour into yourself allows you to be less selfish. I know when I feel fulfilled and nurtured and just full in my cup, I am super generous. But when I was in a space before I really got to a place of balance, I performed being generous, but I felt resentful inside. Now I pour into myself. I make sure that I prioritize myself. And then the generosity is just natural. It's not a performance. I am able to give so much to my family, to my husband, to my kids, to others around me. So I want you to think about that. How can you preserve your peace, create your family legacy, and honor yourself in the process? All right, my lovelies, I want to thank you for spending this one-on-one moment with me. If this episode blessed you, please share it with a woman who needs to be reminded of her feminine power. And let me know your thoughts. I love to hear what you're doing to preserve peace in your own home. Don't forget, if you are looking for help and practical ways to set boundaries and have healthy relationships, my book, The Boundaries to Bliss Blueprint for Women Who Are Finally Ready to Win at Love, is what you need. And if you're looking to go deeper with the community of women and group coaching with me, Dr. Nicole, you want to look into my community, the Boundaries to Bliss Society Inner Circle, for women who want to enhance and lean into their feminine energy, learn how to create healthy boundaries in their relationships, and create fulfilling relationships for themselves. You can see the link to that in the show notes, and you can always message me if you have a question. And don't forget, if you're watching, you see I have one of the signature t-shirts on, Damsel Me Please. This is my line, my t-shirt line, my merch line that tells women it's okay. Allow yourself to be damseled. Allow yourself to be vulnerable. Ask for help. Receive help. You don't always have to be the strong one. All right. Thank you so much again for joining. Until next time, stay soft while being strong and stay rooted in your femininity. I'm Dr. Nicole.